As Nigeria prepares to hold its seventh consecutive general election since the country returned to democracy in 1999, it has been described as the most looked forward to in the history of the country. With more youths getting their PVCs, the clamor for a better leader has increased both online and offline. As the country continues to battle with a myriad of problems from insecurity to poverty, a decaying health sector, and a collapsing education system, Nigerians are yearning for a leader who can address these problems and pull back the nation from the brinks. To enable them choose the right candidate, Nigerians have called on political parties to focus on issue-based campaigns. But so far, religion, ethnicity, bickering, mudslinging, as well as accusations and counter-accusations and campaigns of falsehood have dominated the political landscape so far. We'll be talking about all of these in this discussion. Joining us now to discuss the place of good governance and core issues that should occupy the polity leading up to the election is Ogun West NNPP senatorial candidate Olufemi Aina. It's nice to have you join us now.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for
I know this morning we're in for a good time with all of the papers ahead of you, But however, the point there is, if we go back history, even pre-independence, all the politicians at that time, with all of the things they campaigned with, will give you light, will give you housing, will give you roads, will give you health, will give you education, and all of that. It's the same thing in the Second Republic they campaigned with. It was the same thing when Abiola came. Oh, we'll give the same thing in 1993. 1999 came, it's the same thing. So the point there is, are we politically, are we moving? Is it politics or is it governance? I don't know what the challenge is, but are we developing? Are we really moving?
Yes, well, that's the million-dollar question, whether we are progressing or retrogressing. But the point is this: politicians promise big and they deliver little. And I still vividly recalled that in those days in the law school, they tell you when a client comes, you better promise little and deliver big. Even if you know in your heart of hearts he's going to get £2,000, you better tell him it's 1,005. So if 2,000 come on the table, he will not be surprised. But politically, the problem we have, you see, this myriad of problems. The First Republic, the Second Republic, the promised land, the promise this. It appears that all these things are there. The question is, are they not going to go away so that we can have new issues to campaign about? But the problem is that they have now become some sort of an entrenched problem, whereby every time there is an election, we still have to campaign on the same issue. And again, there is also a problem whereby some of the candidates, they are not even engaging with the issues. And the electorates too, they are not being carried along. Take for instance, now we have all this myriad of problems, which you highlighted earlier on. But the point is, if you think about certain political party, take the PDP for an instance. The only thing I know in this election is about Wike and the Atiku problem. I don't even know anything about their manifesto that, look, this is how I'm going to do things. This is the new things I'm going to bring on the table when I get to power. And the problem with this, and we need to look at this critically, Mike, if a party fails to elect a unity candidate, that party will have a myriad of problems to cope with. And if care is not taken, those myriad of problems will have foreshadowed your manifesto, because the electorate, that is what they will. Look, everything going on around PDP now is about Wike meeting in London, Wike with APC. This is the only thing. We don't even know what the president is going to do to deal with all the socio-economic problems which we have in the country. And then when you talk to the other political party, and you talk about their candidate becoming the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the only thing you hear is that, oh, the man can do it better, because in the past, he was the governor of Lagos State, he did this, he did that. We know that. There is no point flogging a dead donkey. We are talking about the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are not talking about the president of Lagos. How is he going to do things differently? And the campaign, even from the APC, they are not even campaigning and capitalizing on the success or successes of the present administration. It is just about what has happened in the past. And now, but the beauty of it all, lo and behold, is that Nigerians are now aware that Nigeria is not a two-party country. It is neither a four-party country, neither is it a 5-party country, because Nigerians are now aware that there is a Labour Party, they are now aware there is an NNPP, a New Nigerian People's Party, and they are aware of other political parties. So this election is about choice. Choice between continuity and change. Choice between whether you want to eat your chips with honey or vinegar. And the vinegar on the table is that we have new political parties which people can align to. And it's just unfortunate that some of these new political parties, they are not getting enough publicity from the media. And some of them have a vital issue. If you listen to Obi campaign, for instance, I'm not a member of the Labour Party, but talking about import economy to production economy, those are issues electorates are supposed to aligned with, and those are vital issues. When you listen to Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso talking about how he's going to use his experience as a former Minister of Defense to tackle the challenge of insecurity by making sure we have strategy, funding, and deployment. These are the essential ingredients in order to tackle the insecurity which we are all facing now.
You are from NNPP, and it's very clear that you just contradicted yourself. You just said that Kwankwaso can use his experience as defense minister to tackle insecurity. Yes. And the APC man cannot use his experience as Lagos State governor to rule to show ICAI. You have to come from the microcosm to the macrocosm. Because if you can be good in little, and Lagos is not little. Lagos is 5th biggest economy in Nigeria. In fact, Lagos, it says an economy swallows Nigeria's economy.
Sorry, Mr. Amashe, I think you must have misheard me. What I'm trying to say is that we are talking about issues that will determine the next election. I'm not saying the man from Lagos will have the experience to tackle insecurity. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what we are hearing is that because he did this in Lagos, this and that, because of that he will become the president. What we want to hear, there are issue-based discussion that, look, we have insecurity in the country. This is how I'm going to tackle it as the president of the Federal Republic.
But you followed what happened.
And sorry to disturb your flow of thought. And the second point is that, look, if you have a situation where a vice presidential candidate is saying, I'm going to be in charge of security when we get to power, that is a testimony that when you get to power, there is going to be conflict. All those issues are issues I'm concerned about, and they are issues every Nigerian should be concerned about.
We'll come back to this because from that, of course, there's a lot we can talk about already. Yes. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We're discussing way forward and the kind of candidate and Nigerians are looking forward to emerge as president in the next election, and generally how that should contribute to the system. We'll be right back after this short timeout. Stay with us. All right. It's quite interesting behind the camera sometimes. You're watching TVC Breakfast, and on this segment, we're looking at what Nigerians are looking forward to. What kind of campaigns are they looking forward? What are the issues generally guiding these campaigns? What will impact the voting pattern of Nigerians, what they want, what are they looking forward to? These are the things we're talking about as we build up to the general elections. And we have in the studio the Ogun West NNPP senatorial candidate, Olufemi Aina. It's nice to have you join us.
Yes.
Yes. And before we went on the break, you made a comment regarding the other political parties. Of course, we don't just have 2 or 3 political parties. There are several other political parties that some people may not even know their names. But the point there is, whether they are pulling their weight in trying to gain attention is totally a different thing. But when you say that we are not hearing of the what can they do? What can political parties do if they don't have, maybe they don't have the idea or they don't have the wherewithal, or some of them are just there to occupy space?
Yes, if you don't have the idea, you don't come forward. That's the point. Because the issues here, we have a myriad of problems affecting us as Nigerians. So we need purposeful leadership. And it is also important. It is one thing to be in office. It is one thing to be in power. And you need the two. if you want to be the next president.
IDB.
Well, exactly. And if you want to be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And these other political parties, they will also need to try as much as possible because there is an imbalance of resources. Don't forget, the PDP, they were in power for 16 years. The last 7 years has been an APC government. And if you are now coming forward, you may not have their resources, but the little resources you have, you can manage it and enhance it. And also you can embrace the social media as well in order to get to the electorate. And at the same time, in opposition politics, you look for the weakness or weaknesses of the major political party, and you can capitalize on that to carry people along. And one thing I've observed, since I started this journey, which come hell or high water, we turn to success by February 25 next year, is that I realized that if you engage the local people, some of them, they are not even aware of what they are going to do on election day. They need it, it is unlike in the past, you have MAMSA or what do you call it, that body, they can go out and educate people. Because I had a declaration on the 21st of December, and among the program, there's something called voters education. When I started telling people this is what you do when you get into the polling booth, facial recognition, you could see the silence. Now, you as a candidate, you need to go out, carry the ordinary people along and educate them. Because by the time they enter the polling booth, you will not be there. And anything can happen. Some will get confused. Some, because of the security apparatus around, they might just panic and then they just start printing nonsense, which will not help you to get to power. So, what I've realized is that most major political parties at the ward unit, whether you have this ward chairman and the woman leader, youth leader, leaders upon leaders, they need to go out and educate people. And by so doing, Nigerians will be able to exercise that choice. And there are lots in the menu in this election. This is an election that is very important, and this is an election that will change the narrative. And left to me alone, I represent the change, and I want a new government that will come into power. That is why I align myself with NNPP.
But your NNPP party didn't show up at the Arewa thing. Your candidate, Kwakwanso, was saying that Arewa people the Arewa group has already made a decision. Was he shying away from even making his point? Because it was not just about talking to Arewa, we were talking to the country. Because we had the man from Atiku who was dividing the country by saying that no Yoruba candidate, don't vote for Igbo candidate, and Obi himself was there coming out with platitudes about I want the potential, I want to go back to greatness, which is anybody can say it.
Yes.
But one student can say it. Tinubu came down, not without being, it was a fact, who even was able to stir people to talk. Even some people were showing ignorance. They didn't know the meaning of a metaphor about church rat and a poison communion. They didn't understand it. I talked about marginaries and all. So why was Kwankwa so shying away from going there to presenting his own position to the world?
Mr. Mbansha, first of all, there's something, I think your view is too narrow to be effective because somebody didn't turn up at a particular occasion. You cannot use that to say he's shining.
And this one was asking, was he shining out?
No.
Or was he shining away? Or was he using that? No, I'm giving you a platform to explain to Nigeria.
I'm very grateful for the platform.
Good.
But one thing you need to appreciate, I'm not here to represent Kwakwazo. I'm here to represent an NNPP.
Where's your candidate?
It's my candidate, and I'm not shining away from that. But the point is this. What I disagree with is that the fact that he did not turn up at Arewa consultative meeting does not mean he's shining away. I disagree with that because you wait. The campaign will not end until some few months from now. So because of that, if he failed to turn up at Arewa, he might even turn up at another forum. And at that forum, you will now hear the policy because this is a man who is ready to take over and this is a man who is ready to change the narrative. And the most important thing, why I said your view is too narrow to be effective is that...
It was a question.
It is a question that deserves a right answer. And I'm trying my best possible to give you the answer that he did not shine away. He has a lot to say. And as time goes by, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag for now, but as time goes by, you will hear more and you will know the difference between those who wants to be in power and those who
too much in the bag, it will choke.
All right. Now, Olufemi, the point is, at this point, Nigerians, when an average Nigerian on the street, if you ask them what the problems are, the basic things are what they point to. The issue of health, hospital, primary health care, education, schools, jobs, all of these things. And any Nigerian who becomes president, there is a lot of hope. In fact, what the local government can or should do, sometimes they feel, the president should handle it. What the state government or state governor should handle, everybody says the president. But the issue there is there one administration that can turn around all of these myriads of problems and challenges and give Nigerians that hope that, now we are in Canaan?
What I'm going to say is that Nigerians should be very hopeful. And all these issues which you mentioned, they are very concerning. The poverty level in the country is not something to write home about. And I must say this to you, there is hunger in the land. Once you come out to contest, you will see a lot of messages you are going to get on a day-to-day basis. People asking for money to pay hospital bill. People asking for money to pay their school fees, their children's school fees. And then it begs the question, you are not even in power. You are not in Senate yet, and you are getting this. What will happen when you get there? That is why, as a legislator, the first starting point, and I've said this before the last time I was here, that, look, this nonsense about national minimum wage, this and that, there's nothing like a minimum problem. It's a lot. We need to scrap that and come up with a living wage. A living wage whereby when you get your salary, you pay your bills, there will be something left in the kitty for you to keep for the future. There will be something left in the kitty for that on a Sunday after church service or Friday after the mosque service, you can still take your family out to have a good dinner. This is very important. And another problem, Nigerians at present, they are living on a bread and water month by month. And it seems unhealthy. The other problem those who are working, who are even earning salary, there are people you can classify as working poor. Because at the end of the day, majority of them who are working at the ministry of this, ministry of that, ask them, the only way they are surviving is because they do this thrift, ajo, and some are borrowing from cooperative. You understand? And at the end of the day, they don't even have enough left. So we need to come up with a system whereby people will earn a decent wage. And the cost of living too, we need to do something about it. That is why government needs to come up with economic policy that will benefit people and take us from this problem. And as a legislator, when we get there, the level of corruption in this country that is going on, there are something we need to tackle head on. Because you see, political stability is a sign of economic progress. And if you have unemployed youths who are just roaming about the street without doing anything, they are devil's workshop. Because at the end of the day, politicians are likely to capitalize on that. And look at what happened recently. Look at this ASU strike that went on for almost 8 months. Now you are offering them this jumbo pay. Why is it that, why didn't you do that in time? And again, there is another thing which is very important. And I'm telling you, as soon as I step into that red chamber, this labor laws, we need to look at it seriously, because we just finished ASU strike now. Maybe in the next few months, it's going to be Nigerian Labour Congress strike. Then the medical doctors will start their own. Then once those finish, the Petroleum Tankers Union. The unhealthy strike, we need to do something. Either we change the labor law that if you go on strike and it's more than 2 weeks, then you need to apply to the court for an extension of time. And court must engage in active mediation to make sure that the matter doesn't drag.
Yeah, but some people would argue, that the organized labor, all of those persons are not just going on strike. It was based or because of the failure of government to do the needful in the area of provision of infrastructure or security, whatever the thing is, or even salaries. That is why they are going on strike in the first place. So if government or governance is functional, where everything is provided, there wouldn't even be a need for strike.
I agree with you, because don't forget, government can't do everything, okay? And there's nothing like a perfect system. Issues are going to crop up along
But they will say, because government can't do everything, and some of these things are not justiciable, for instance, you cannot sue government to court for not providing security. A lot of people will say that is why government hide behind all of these things to become...
you cannot sue government for providing... Sorry, let me quickly respond before I come to you, Mr. Mache. You cannot sue government for insecurity, but at the same time, you can lobby legislators to impeach them so that they get out of power. So citizens have all those rights. But the most important is that what I'm saying is that the situation whereby you shut university for 8 months because people are on strike, you are not meeting their demand. We will use the law to force you to the negotiating table. We will use an independent arbitrator who will promote settlement between the two of you so that matters could be resolved promptly.
Yeah, I was just trying to add that the real attitude of government, is like that what Abraham Lincoln said. He said the government is supposed to do to a community of people what they cannot have done, or what they cannot do, or cannot do so well for themselves. In other words, the government is supposed to be an enabler of them, put the conditions right for the people to now go, to get their potential. It's not like, the socialist or communist government who will say to each according to their needs and from each according to their ability. Who determines their needs
and ability.
Their ability.
Exactly.
So, they said it's bread, but we know from the fall of communism that, man cannot live by bread alone. but they have sardine and jam and all those things.
And butter.
Have to have butter. And, so we have to have that. Now, the INEC has said that there's no way, that's one of the issues of election. There's no way there can be rigging in this
present
election. Do you agree with that? Because I believe that rigging is not only restricted to INEC. Even INEC does its own part. There are many factors that determine election that can be described as rigging without INEC being accused of any wrongdoing.
Whether I subscribe to that, that's something that I need to think deeply about. But the point I'm going to make is that, INEC being the umpire, they need that confidence building for us to have confidence in the system. But if you look at it, some of these issues, which you mentioned earlier on, epileptic power supply, bad network, now 80% of goods that transit in Nigeria, they are by road, but 20% of the roads are paved. You see, these are things that has effect on the electoral administration in any country. And the major point, if INEC is saying that, this election is not going to be rigged, let them give us the template. Because at the same time, we have 176,000 polling units. How are you going to monitor? Are all your officials, they are all clean and honest to the extent that there will be? If you look at the voter registration that happened, in some areas, politicians even hijacked that voter registration exercise by taking INEC officials to a certain area so that they can register their members. And so if you start saying there's not going to be rigging and what have you, let's wait and see. The result will determine. What happened during the election is what will determine. But I'm not blaming them for giving us that assurance. But I know that we have so many issues. And if those issues are not tackled, one, you need to tackle poverty. Otherwise, people will vote for money. They will not vote for merit. That is one issue.
Vote buying.
And then the second issue, you need to get the security agencies to be up and running, and you need to get your officials to be very transparent. You need to have integrity, the system in place to monitor their integrity, to make sure they are not corrupt. These are the issues which INEC needs to address. They seems to be addressing them one by one, but as time goes by, we will see what happens during the election.
What of the issue of mobilization. Because it looks like the whole concept of mobilization is changing in Nigeria, and it still stays the same. Some people feel that they can mobilize by using the social media, but some people, there are some areas where you mobilize without using social media. One of the parties had their people mobilize them by social media, and then they were surprised by the other party who there was nothing online, there was no Facebook, no Twitter, and they had more people than the people called who organized by social media. So tell us, what is the dynamic of mobilization? I know your party doesn't have that much, without denigrating your party, not in these parts. I know in Kano, you have shown that. Anywhere else, we've not really seen you anywhere in the country. Well, but it's good that you are here. You're representing your people here. I'm trying to say, I'm giving you opportunity to play yourself. But I'm saying, you're wearing an owl cap now. But I want to see, how do you mobilize? Like an NNPP in a place like Lagos?
Let me clarify that point. You see, you cannot, it's very difficult to sit in the studio and judge what happens outside. Senator Abi Kwakwazo was in Lagos just about a fortnight ago to open the NNPP office at Ikorodu also. Now, I will tell you, if you see the crowd there, in fact, it's not something you can compare with PDP or APC. And also, you see,
maybe not.
We have to, maybe not. But the point is this, we have to be very careful. You see, you don't judge the market by the crowd, because sometimes some people just open shop, they don't make a sale at all. So we have to, some of these people, when it comes to mobilization, are we mobilizing the new party members? Or we are just mobilizing people because by the time you send money that hire a vehicle, there's going to be a rally.
That's what they said about the rally. That's what they said about the rally.
There are so many people who will come.
That's what some people said about the rally in Kaduna, the PDP rally in Kaduna. Yes, that some people were paid to get the crowd, exactly. And they ran away with the money, and that's why there was.
At the end of the day, those people, you see, you need to be very careful, because if you say the crowd is so much, some of them may not even have PVC. Some of them are not even members of your party. But because of what is happening that day or what is going to happen that day, that's why they are there. And you won't be surprised. I've even organized a rally, mobilized people, and people turn up. And later on Facebook, I even saw them at APC rally. So you have to be very careful not to judge the book by the cover, by saying because they have this crowd, because of.
So you're saying that they showed curiosity about your party? Are you saying something here that they showed curiosity about your party, and they went to the other party where they belong? Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. By being at my rally, because they are supporting me, they are supporting my party. But if the other party called them that, let us go, this and that, we go.
But the point there is, but the issue there is, how do we ascertain or verify the fact that these people are here because they are at your rally or they are the other person's rally, they belong here or they belong there? The only verification is the PVC, or for some of them who are card-carrying members of a certain political party.
Exactly.
But the question there is that, how do you mobilize at that level? What is the language and how do you connect to people? This goes beyond even whether it is NNPP or LP or APC, because the point there is, at the grassroots level, of course, there's so many men, women, even young people who are not on social media at all. How do we connect to those kind of people?
Well,
that's the question.
That's why it is very important. And some of the community leaders, they have a lot to do in that respect. You understand? You need to try as much as possible, reach out to some of the community leaders, the imam, the pastor, then the CDA, the chairman of the CDA, the women leader, the market women. That is how you reach out to them. And they are the one who will now organize these people that, look, come on, let's listen to this candidate is coming to visit. And by the time, and I must be sincere, I've attended some of these occasions, and you will realize that by the time they listen to you, they listen to your party, they listen to how you are going to do things differently. And that is what we are encouraged to do as NNPP members, that we must reach out to the grassroots. We must let's not talk about the king or the nobles, just the peasants, because they are the one who are going to vote on that day. Because if you go and visit the king, another candidate from other parties is still going to come.
Yeah.
So just
you're trying to parrot Paul. not only mighties like nobles, but God has chosen the little ones to compare.
Exactly.
So both the noble and the peasants, the candidates you need to reach out.
All right.
But I reach out to the peasants more.
Okay, we have to end it here now because of the time. But as time goes on, of course, this discussion has to be on the burner so that we can get it right. The most important thing is giving Nigerians that opportunity to choose from. What is PDP telling me? What is APC telling me? What is NNPP telling me? What is Labour Party?
You have to do a
and all
good
of that.
job of telling people to pronounce this.
So they're not thinking NNPC.
No, it's not. It's NNPP.
All right. It's an oil company.
Thank you so much, Olufemi Aina, for
Thank
coming
you
on
so
the
much.
program, the
Thank you.
Ogun West NNPP senatorial candidate. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Mr.
right, thank
Marshall.
you. Yes.